How to Slay a Demogorgon. By Withered Rose. Given the popularity of the recent Nephilim article, I am thinking that you gremlins are interested in monsters, and all things spooky. Yet, I also know that a good segment of y'all are eminently practical people and policy wonks. So, I have been thinking on a way of tying the two together, and a monster slaying guide seemed appropriate. What are we slaying? A Demogorgon. What is that? Well, it looks a bit like this. Depicted in the article is the Demogorgon from Stranger Things, the Netflix series. It also looks like this. Depicted is the Tavistock Institute logo. We are being a bit metaphorical, but there are some striking similarities between the Demogorgon and Tavistock, the Open Society Foundation, and the Neo-Jacobins heading the Democratic Party. Like the Demogorgon, these groups and organizations are tools of a shadowy underworld. In Netflix's language, they are spawns from the upside down. In Christian terminology, they are servants of Satan. As Satan rebelled against God, so the Demogorgon's philosophy is a denial of God. In biology, the Demogorgon says that there is no real difference between male and female, that both gender and sex are social constructs, and that children should be given sex change surgery should the child belong to the wrong gender. In physics, the Demogorgon rejoices that the whole cosmos is mathematically describable, that there are regularities and order, that it came from nothing, creation ex nihilo, but concludes that the cosmos came about by chance. In art, beauty is in the eye of the beholder and is increasingly, only, self-expression or a tool for a political cause, rather than the classical view that we see beauty, another name for God, by beautiful things. In public schools, children are taught that they are bigoted if they hold to the teachings of Christian orthodoxy and drilled into believing that their ancestors were genocidal racists, instead of being strengthened in their faith and being taught to honor their people. To enforce this, the Demogorgon, who has control over the media, universities, public schools, and the financial institutions, uses censorship, lawfare, seizing bank accounts, FBI raids, and assassination when needed. What do conservatives, and even many on the right, propose to do? Against the Demogorgon, they want to elect a Republican to office, start a new publishing house, or hold a conference. Now, I am not opposed to any of these things, and we certainly need them, but there has to be some punch in it. We cannot negotiate with this. You have to slay it. If you do not, if you merely poke at it, like Trump did, it will get angry and try to eat your face with even more vigor. Oh, by the way, this monster is interested in your children, not only so it can change their gender through genital mutilation, but sexually. This monster rejoices as you become a demographic minority, as it tells the new majority that you are the cause of their sufferings. I wonder how that will turn out. South Africa maybe. This monster will rig elections and carry out assassinations, will falsify scientific studies, lie to your face, and stick innocent civilians in jail. To do anything less than slay it is to piss off a demon from hell, and it is truly demonic, not just metaphorically, who wants you dead. This is why Chief of Hawkins Police Withered Rose is here to explain how to kill the Demogorgon so we can all go back to roller skating and listening to Kate Bush. Phase 1, Slaying the Demogorgon. First, we have to acknowledge that whoever we get into office, that no matter what counter-infrastructure we set up, the Demogorgon has been entrenched in the American government for at least 100 years, and the vast majority of its army cannot be fired. You cannot fire CNN, Soros, Tavistock, or many of those in the executive branch. Unless these folks can be cleared out, any productive efforts will be stalled, blocked, or, even if they manage to temporarily succeed, reversed after the next president comes in. We looked at this problem before but repetition is good, and I want to make it simpler this time around. A. To clear out the media, all that is needed to do is activate Code 606 of US 47 of the Telecommunications Act. You can read the text here, which lays out the specifics for when and how the president can seize control over all media communications in the country. Maybe you have a moral issue with this, I do at least. Yet, think of how the media has sabotaged countless conservative counter-strikes. Activating Code 606 is not silencing free speech, it is silencing propaganda. This should be done the very first hour of the presidency. B. To clear out the deep state. Trump had the right idea but had it too late. I truly think that this executive order is why there was 103% voter turnout in 2020. What the executive order does is create a new classification for civil servants, which the president can move almost the entirety of the executive branch over to, and this classification of civil servant, Section F, is able to be fired. As soon as a real conservative enters the White House, he should utilize this classification, if not modify the order to speed up the termination process, and gut the entirety of the civil service, replacing them with loyalists. C. To clear out various NGOs, a military raid and trial might do the trick. Tavistock and Soros networks are, after all, funding the genital mutilation of children. There is a moral justification. Another moral justification is that the president would have a mandate from the people by nature of being elected. A final justification is that it is always moral to kill a Demogorgon. We will not have a show trial, but a real one. Tavistock's creeps will be represented by a competent lawyer, but they will face justice in the end. D. To clear out the universities, a new generation of professors must be raised. Putting a gag order on the Demogorgon will not change the fact that it is the Demogorgon. Censorship is never the answer, even if it is a necessary bandage. So, until a new generation of professors is raised, state universities need to be rewarding to conservative professors and, at least, inhospitable to the Demogorgon. Fire professors that teach the existence of more than two genders, give science professors raises if they highlight the harmony between science and religion, like telling students that it was Christians that discovered the Big Bang and the second law of thermodynamics. They might be given the Newton Award, as Newton was a devout Christian physicist. Acknowledge professors that foster a love for classical and American history, etc. Again, these are bandages until the new generation of professors come along. As for private universities, the funding that either A. props them up or, B. sways them to the left will dry up after the implementation of the above policy. C. E. To clear out the neo-Jacobins in the Democratic Party and Jacobin-lights in the Republican Party, at least the leadership, Senate/House committee members, and top donors must be brought to heel. If they are, their respective cohorts will play ball. How will this be done? In a reaction to the above measures, it is certain that both parties will try and protect the Demogorgon. As soon as they do, they will be counted as treasonous and dealt with accordingly. Earlier I said this event will be January 6th in reverse, and I stand by it. With the captured media, the trial will be broadcast for everyone to see. Phase 2, a return to normalcy. After the Demogorgon has been systematically cleared out, a new city has to be built. So, for the purposes of a return to normalcy, let the following be proposed. 1. For proper education teaching virtue and the love of God, let the state funds allotted to students for public education be given to families so they can then use those funds to either homeschool their children or enroll them in a private or charter school. On average this amounts to $15,000 a year per student, and on average this is higher than the tuition of private school. No new taxes are needed, as this money is already in the system, but will just be distributed differently. That new generation of professors I talked about? This is where they will come from. 2. For the security of our border, let A. the border wall be finished, B. have more troops deployed, C. give Border Patrol officers autonomy in deciding how to accomplish their duties and not be hamstrung by Washington, and D. make the economy and security of Mexico and South America America's #1 foreign policy priority. People immigrate because they are in a bad situation, and they are looking for a better opportunity. If Mexico and South America were relatively safe and had decent jobs, then those seeking to immigrate here would decrease in number. American companies could be given subsidies if they opened plants and offices in Mexico and South America, on condition that workers are paid more than the workers of any other company in the region, are given health care and a 401k. Yes, the demand is high, and yes, we are paying companies to take jobs overseas. Yet, money will pour back into America as American companies are still making a profit, and there will be less immigration as the need to immigrate will dry up. When it comes to crime, the next president should tell the president of Mexico that if he does not crack down on crime, American soldiers will be sent to stabilize the situation. Chances are crime will simply go behind the curtain, but as long as the average Mexican does not have to worry about being shot, then the goal is accomplished. 2. 3. To allow freedom of association and to end social experimentation, let all anti-discrimination laws and affirmative action programs be immediately suspended by, first, executive order and, later, solidified by an act of Congress. 4. To strengthen small businesses against both the shopping mall, which threatened Hawkins, and the international megacorps like Walmart, Amazon, and Home Depot, which threaten small-town America today. Let a 1% sales tax be applied to all big-box retailers, with the revenue of this tax being used to subsidize locally owned businesses, the exact distribution being decided by local and state governments. 5. To prevent entertainment from being used to portray ugliness, let a new decency code be applied to Hollywood, streaming platforms, and cable. Movies, film, and television must highlight some virtue. Stranger Things revolves around the premise that friendship and family can overcome the forces of darkness, cannot have protagonists that blaspheme, and must be tasteful in language and romance. As for the last two, I do not wish to eliminate all cursing or never to see a kiss on screen, but we eat fries with ketchup, not ketchup with fries. Not only does the latter make speech ugly and turns romance into porn, but it is indicative of poor writing. Take a look at this 14-second scene with Ewan McGregor, one that is filled with sexual tension, and compare it to something in Shameless or Game of Thrones. One is good writing, romantic and erotic, the other, is sloppy writing 3 and pornographic. Running up that hill. If the above 10 policies are followed, the Demogorgon will be dead, proper education will be restored, the border will be secure, freedom of association will, in time, make for livable towns and cities, small businesses will be able to stand their own against multinationals, and entertainment will revolve around the beautiful, not the ugly. Unlike Reagan's fake conservative revolution, which was neither conservative, it brought shopping malls and amnesty, nor revolutionary, at best it was a pause in the Demogorgon's mauling of America's face. This conservative revolution will fundamentally alter the fabric of America. Longtime readers of this blog, or the American Sun, will recognize much of what was said here. So, why write this post? I promise it is not, only, because I have been binging Stranger Things and wanted to make a tribute to the show, although I hope I can draw some attention to these policies by potentially tripping copyright laws. Just imagine a popular Netflix show being cast as the new inspiration behind the far right. I repeat and mix together previous proscriptions here to re-emphasize 2 things. 1. There are concrete solutions to concrete problems. 2. We cannot play nice with the enemy, we have to kill it. If there are 2 things I can copy, it is these 2. Conservatives ignore point 2, and those on the right are in denial about 1. So, let us go then, you and I, as the sun spreads across the sky and kill ourselves a Demogorgon. Huge credit goes to my new editor who saved me with his grammar hammer. 1. See the Counter-Revolution series, found in the About tab of this blog. 2. Quoted from How to Fight by Withered Rose. 3. Person A, how do we tell the audience that X and Y desire each other? Person B, what if they fucked for 5 minutes on screen?